Hey y'all, it's Ryan Martell here, Martell's Movie Madness, and this one has been in the books for a long time. I've been waiting to make this video, uh, and I was gonna try to wait till the last installment comes out, but that's been delayed indefinitely right now. Of course, I'm talking about Star Trek. I had a blast watching all of these movies. I kind of watched the original series and then watched the first five movies, which is all the original series movies. And then after watching The Next Generation, I finished them up. Uh, it's sad to me that Deep Space Nine and Voyager did not get a single movie, but like I said, I was waiting on Star Trek 4 to come out to do this, and it looks like it's not going to be for another couple years now, if it happens at all. And so this is the Star Trek movie franchise ranking. Of course, there's the new Section 31 movie that I won't be able to include here because it's not out yet, and Star Trek 4, of course, is not out. But all 13 of the previously released Star Trek movies are here. I'm going to do a separate ranking for the shows once I finish all of them, which may never happen because they're adding more every day. But I think once I finish the rest of the ones that are currently going, I'll do a show ranking and then do a new one once more shows are, of course, added. And I guess I'll have to update this one once Star Trek 4 and Section 31 come out eventually. But here we go. Star Trek franchise ranking.
Make it so, number one.
All right, at number 13, dead last. This is on the bottom of a lot of people's list when it comes to the ranking of Star Trek movies, and I'm talking, of course, about The Final Frontier. Not that it's a bad movie per se. I don't really think there are any stinkers in the bunch, personally. It's a little boring and bland, so it doesn't really tickle the fancy the way that a lot of other Star Trek movies do. But that being said, it is pretty entertaining. Like when I did my ranking, when I did my ratings for like my podcast and Letterboxd, I don't think I gave any of the Star Trek movies under 3 out of 5. So, take that information and do what you will with it. But yeah, this is my number 13, The Final Frontier.
To every corner of creation.
Excuse me, I'd just like to ask a question. What does God need with a starship?
Number 12 is actually Star Trek Part 3, The Search for Spock. This is another one that kind of universally ranks low when people talk about their rankings of Star Trek movies. And I could see why. It's a little slow. It's good. Like, they're all good, like I said, but it's just a little slow for me, and I'm sure it's a little slow for everybody. You'll find out later on coming in that I'm not one of those people who hates all the odd number movies and loves all the even number movies. I've got a good little mix up going on. So yeah, but The Search for Spock is definitely number 12, next to last. What are you going to do?
It seems I've missed you. I don't know if I could stand to lose you again.
All right, number 11 is going to be Star Trek Insurrection. This is my least favorite of the Next Generation movies, of course, as it's the lowest one on the list. And, it's just another one of those where it's kind of like the plot's really just not there, and it's just kind of, it's okay, it's good, it's fine to watch. It's not one that I'm dying to rewatch anytime soon, though. I mean, the top 5 are pretty much the only ones I really, avidly would want to regularly rewatch. But, this one's still pretty good. Number 11, of course, like I said, Star Trek Insurrection.
Stop him, now!
Commander Data, stand down.
Number 10 is Star Trek Beyond. This is the first movie in the Kelvin timeline to make it onto the list, and it's the lowest, of course. Not my favorite out of the 3 Kelvin movies, but it's still really good. It's still better than the 3 other movies I've listed so far. But yeah, it's just something about it. It's kind of like just weaker comparatively to other Star Trek movies, and
We're overwhelmed by something we've never seen before.
Number 9. Here at number 9, we've got the Star Trek Into Darkness. This is supposed to be the Kelvin Timelines version of Wrath of Khan, I feel like, and it just doesn't live up to that. I do like the Kelvin movies, and I think that all the actors do a really great job, especially Carl Urban and Anton Yelchin. Those two really kind of embody their characters. But yeah, other than that, like, the Kelvin movies are just kind of like action movies. You know what I mean? Whereas some of the other Star Trek movies from the original series and Next Generation eras of the movies are a little more funny, a little more tense. Whereas these 3 are kind of more like thrill rides. They kind of feel more like Avengers movies than they do sci-fi.
If you test me, you will fail.
Mr. Sulu, remind me never to piss you off.
All right, and for a triple header, number 8 is Star Trek 2009, the first movie from the Kelvin timeline. I like a lot of things about this one, and as far as the 3 of the Kelvin timeline go, it's definitely head above heels for the better. I just think this one feels more Star Trek-y, which is odd because J.J. Abrams wasn't a fan before he took on the project. I like the way we're introduced to each character. I like I said before, I like Carl Urban as Bones, and I love Anton Yelchin as Chekhov. Chris Pine's fine Kirk, but you know, William Shatner's kind of big shoes to fill, especially in the Star Trek fandom. Not that he's my favorite captain per se, but there are a lot of people who it's either Kirk or Picard, and I'm like, fuck you guys, Cisco. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Star Trek 2009 is number 8.
Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a torpedo technician.
Number 7. This is Star Trek Generations. This is the like crossover Next Generation original series movie. You start out with the crew from the original Enterprise, and there's this big fucking thing, and then somehow only Kirk is left, and it's like Kirk and the Next Generation crew kind of like going against Malcolm McDowell and whatever the fuck he had going on. But it's a Christmas movie, and I'll give you guys that. And it's really fun, but it's just kind of like, this is where it really starts to get hard to kind of put them in order, because like they're all pretty much enjoyable from here on out, like really enjoyable. But yeah, this one's just kind of like on the lower end of that scale.
Do something unexpected. Get it? Got it.
Number 7. Number 7 is The Undiscovered Country. This one is far more dramatic than the rest of the Star Trek movies from the original series. This is kind of like a Cold War drama almost, because it focuses on the crew of the Enterprise and a Klingon crew kind of like traveling together and trying to cooperate and being at odds with each other, but like still having to coexist. And I think it's a really good one, and a lot of people don't like it or didn't like it back in the day, but it's kind of come to get its appreciation now, I feel like.
Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1.
You have not experienced Shakespeare until you have read him in the original Klingon.
First Contact is number 6, and this one is kind of like the first proper Next Generation movie. It's the first one that doesn't have any kind of ties to the original series, and it's great, man. It's got a really cool, like, time travel thing going on. It's got Borg. It's got the Borg Queen. Data is in it, of course. We love Data. Zephyr Cochrane and Deanna Troi get pissed drunk at this bar, and man, it's just so good. This one is really interesting because it kind of shows you that Cochrane wasn't really like stoked to be a hero. He was just, you know, a dude trying to fucking do his thing. He had a lot of anxiety and whatnot. But I thought it was really cool. It was awesome. This is probably, I think this is my favorite of my second favorite of the Next Generation movies. So yeah, that's it. The First Contact.
Dr. Cochrane, I know this sounds silly, but can I shake your hand? Thank you, Doctor. I can't tell you what an honor it is to work with you on this project. I never imagined that I'd be meeting the man who invented warp drive.
Number 4. Number 4 is Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I'm not one of the people. There's a lot of people who would put this one super low on their list. I am not one of those people. I understand why people don't like it, because it is a little bit slow and it is like a kind of slow build. But I think that the drama of it, the acting, the writing, everything about it kind of makes the slow pace a little bit worth it. It makes it worth it, you know what I mean? Especially the director's edition with all the color correcting and whatnot. It looks really good for its time. It is fantastic special effects, even when you watch the original cut. Yeah, I'm a fan of the motion picture, the first Star Trek movie. So there you go. Number 3, we're in the top 3 now. This one is another one that's going to be kind of controversial, because for the most part, I feel like Star Trek fans hate this movie. I'm a new Star Trek fan, I will admit it. I've only been watching Star Trek for about 2.5 years now, maybe just 2. I don't really remember. But Star Trek Nemesis, the 10th movie in the franchise, the last movie of the Prime timeline, and I really wish this movie had come out at a time when people really still wanted Star Trek. I feel like by the time this movie came out, everybody had kind of gotten over Star Trek to a degree, of course, like, because there was still like I think Deep Space Nine was still going on when this came out. And Voyager, of course, would be going on for a little bit after this came out, and Enterprise. But I feel like for the most part, Star Trek movies were kind of like a thing that people weren't really stoked about. I don't know. But in this one, you got Tom Hardy, young as fuck, playing a Jean-Luc Picard clone who is gone like evil, and it is just great, man. I thought it was incredible. Anyways, I think that the beginning at Deanna Troi and William Riker's wedding, I think that's good. I think that The showdown at the end is good. I think everything about this movie is fantastic. Definitely my favorite of the Next Generation movies. And I know a lot of people put it like dead last on their list, but I'm not one of those people. I love it.
How did you end up on Remus?
They sent me there to die.
Number 2, and I know this is a lot of people's number 1, and I understand why. It is technically the best Star Trek movie. Technically. It is the most well-made. It is the most, of the original. I'm not qualifying it. It's the best. It's the most well-made. It has the best story. It has the most emotional ending. I don't want to spoil shit for anybody because I really think that even if you're not a Star Trek fan, you can appreciate The Wrath of Khan, and I would suggest checking it out. Who knows? It might spark interest and you start watching everything like I did when I first started watching the original series. And I think Khan is one of the greatest villains as far as like singular villains go in the entire franchise. He's the strongest and the most badass, and Ricardo Montalban is insanely talented. He's a great underrated actor, it feels like. But yeah, Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2, number 2 on my list. And last but certainly not least, number 1, the best Star Trek movie ever to be made, in my opinion, is Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. And man, I gotta tell you guys, when I first started watching these movies, I was into it, started out strong with the motion picture, got even better with Wrath of Khan, kind of dipped a little with Spock, and then we come back up. We come up to to the peak with The Voyage Home. And this movie is everything I love about movies. It's got drama and tension. It's got science fiction. It's got a little bit of horror, maybe even to a degree. Definitely some horrifying moments for the characters. And it's got humor, my kind of humor, cheesy 80s, early 90s, just stupid shit. It's so funny. It's really adventurous. It's got a very adventure type movie feel to it. And yeah, man, I mean, Leonard Nimoy hit it out of the park on this one for sure. So yeah, that's it. Star Trek The Voyage Home is my favorite Star Trek movie of all time. That's how I rank them. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree. What is your ranking? Let me know what you'd like to see me do in the future as far as like franchise rankings go, or even just like different kinds of videos you'd like to see. But most importantly, leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the videos. Hopefully my Hellraiser video is still up, so go check out the Hellraiser franchise ranking. And yeah, till next time, let's watch some fucking movies.
Watch where you're going, you dumbass! Well, double dumbass on you!